Crossing.
Yeah, I definitely got Animal Crossing. I was pretty addicted for a while. I love like those farming type games like Harvest Moon and stuff like that.
Jen's played Harvest Moon on
Yeah.
Steam here. I mean, you might be in the same boat. I don't know. I think it's a female thing. I just still plays The Sims. Like I just don't
I've
get it.
never played The Sims.
Really?
Yeah.
I
have
know
a friend Ben though that still like all the time plays.
No, I know Jen and her sister play, and they play. They always get away from it and then come back to it like 6 months down the road or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm just in the Sims mood.
Tim's sister was just talking about wanting to play The Sims the other day.
I can't have a 16-floor mansion. I'm just going to build one or something of the sort. I don't know. Oh, Lord. Okay, so it is 7:13. It is the 16th of December. I'm Chris.
Yeah, that way.
There
I'm
it is.
Allory.
There it is. See, we're going to get together.
Yeah.
This isn't a solo ensemble.
It's like week 3, so, you know.
People that want to talk books. You're a permanent fixture on here now until you get tired of me.
I'm down.
And we are talking about, boom, it actually worked. Top.
Look at that.
Each of our top
up this week.
I know, right? Well, no, it totally got me. It was like I did like the caveat is you can do 3 broadcast or like 2 or 3 broadcasts, and then like now you got to pay Facebook. Yeah, so they got me last night, and I was putting stuff together, and they're like, "How about $29?" Like, shit.
Is that for the year though?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, that's
not thinking about it. I'm Chris. Of course, this is Allory. We're going to talk about our 3 favorite books of the year. These aren't all books that came out this year. What we decided upon with the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a couple months where no books were being published. DC, Marvel, Image, the whole comic community shut down for a few months. We took that into account, as well as being stuck in the house is no time better to go ahead and delve into your need to read pile or catch up on some of the things you've heard great things about and want to read. I think this is the perfect time for it.
Yeah, this is the first year I'm going to meet my Goodreads challenge goal.
Also, how many books?
50.
You read 50 books this year, like actual novels?
No, I've read 43 or 47, but I can get there.
You have what, another 15 days?
Yeah.
You gonna knock them all out and holidays too?
Yeah.
Okay, more power to you.
It's the best time to read. It's either that or like socialize, and I hate that. So.
I'm gonna go and spend Christmas with Jen's grandparents, and like I said, I'm gonna bring like a box of books.
Yep.
They have a very nice house. It's very peaceful to read there too. So It's like the perfect. So with that being said, I'm gonna do my 3. Allory's gonna do her 3. Actually, we're gonna go 3, 2, 1. We're gonna go Allory 3, Chris 3, just down the line, just snake it like that. 3 books is not much. Brian Bass, let me tell you. So here, Brian Bass put me on a movie last night. It's on Amazon Prime. That's free. It's called Starfish. It was a 2019 movie, right? And this young girl is mourning the death of her best friend. But she's mourning the death of her best friend, which she doesn't know is on the last day on Earth. And when I say that,
what a way to spend your last day.
Right? And I'm not saying it's the last day like the Earth's blowing up, but creatures take over the Earth.
Okay.
And they play, mind you, there's obviously, she's going through a lot of stuff, but it also has a lot to do with her trying to survive, but at the same time, she's going through her 5 stages of grieving.
Mm-hmm.
But her friend knew that something was going to happen. And you see, the movie is amazing. Yes, it was a very, very good movie. I watched it like 2 a.m. Jenna was asleep. I had it real quiet. I even put the subtitles on. I was like, okay, yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. I actually watched a couple movies this week. I'm actually on leave, so like Aubrey's in school still until Friday. I watched Rushmore this week. I love all the Wes Anderson movies. Love them. And
I've seen What's the one with Edward Norton? And he has like all the scouts. Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah, I really like.
Wes Anderson, he puts Edward Norton in all of his movies.
I went through a major Edward Norton phase when I was like 16, which is a really weird thing to do, but I loved him so much. Like, I watched all of his movies. There's the weekly cat appearance.
I watched that, and I watched Jojo Rabbit. Loved it.
A lot of people have recommended that to me and said it was really good, so it's on my to-watch list.
Taika Waititi made it. And Taika Waititi is Hitler in that movie.
Amazing.
Just to give you, I had to watch it to get everything was going on. Yeah, it's a very deep movie, and there's a lot of, without giving anything away, a lot of musical tones in it, a lot of sounds, but there's a lot of stuff going on in that Starfish. It's on Amazon Prime. But no, I watched Jojo Rabbit, and I won't give anything away, but it's a young boy who's lives in Germany, and during World War II, and he's growing up, and he wants to fight in Hitler's army, right? But he's a good little boy, right? He's got a heart of gold, this and that, and he has an imaginary friend. His imaginary friend happens to be Adolf Hitler himself, and Adolf Hitler is Taika Waititi, okay. And he is hilarious in it. Rebel Wilson's in it. Sam Rockwell's in it. Scarlett Johansson's in it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. One of my favorite movies of the year. Loved it. Speaking of favorite things of the year, let's it worked. Let's talk about some honorable mentions. Allory, go ahead and take it away. Let me do what almost made your list, but you couldn't squeeze it in there.
So I chose Bitch Planet, Volume 1.
Karen Gillan or no? Steve DeConnick.
No, yeah, DeConnick.
Okay.
So I read it just a couple of weeks ago. I picked it up when I was at Laughing Ogre, and honestly, the title, like, I was like, okay, like, I don't even need to know, like, Bitch Planet, it's going in my cart. So basically, it's all of the bad women are, instead of being sent to prison, they are sent to another planet.
Exile.
And, yeah.
Okay.
And everything there is like televised. So it's basically like they're exiled, and then it's the Hunger Games. So like they encourage, like they try to like get the women to start fighting each other because it's televised. And then the heads of the company or whatever, they're like, this really isn't doing it for people anymore, because I guess, you know, the violence is just not enough.
Like
so they decided to start having them. Yeah, they play. Okay. They start playing this sport, and so they make a team of these female prisoners, and they are training and playing them against professionals.
Huh. I'm aware of this book. I was aware of this book. I hadn't read it. Brian says you had me at hello, and that title is awesome.
I mean, honestly, like that's all I needed to see. I picked it up and I was like, there we go. So there are 2 more volumes that I plan on buying but haven't bought yet, because this one is issues 1 through 5. So it does leave off on a pretty violent cliffhanger, but I was like so hooked immediately, and it was just a lot of fun to read.
Awesome. And I do know, like I said, I've read Kelly Sue DeConnick's her Captain Marvel run, and I enjoyed it. Definitely kind of not so much reinvented the character, but made her the Captain Marvel that we know and see on the big screen now. And of course, you know who she's married to, right? She's married to Chip Zdarsky, who he and her write Sex Criminals.
Okay.
Chip Zdarsky is writing the main Marvel title. Chip Zdarsky writes a bunch of Image books as well. But yeah, they're like a married power couple over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is through Image, so.
Through Image. Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bitch Planet. All right. Yeah. What else you got?
The only other thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's not a book, I'm sorry, but it is comic related, was the animated Harley Quinn on HBO Max because I adored it.
Oh, now I had DC Universe for like a hot second, and I was like, I can't keep paying for this on top of everything else. And of course, I had HBO, and I saw that they transferred them over, and I've been wanting to watch it, and I heard it was hilarious and dark.
It's hilarious. It is not a family show. Like, don't let the fact that it's animated be like, oh, let's sit down and watch this as a family, because it's not. Like, there's a lot of language, a lot of violence. It really plays on the relationship between Harley and Poison Ivy, which I love. There is a guy, a villain named Kite Man, who I had never heard of before, but he's hilarious, and he's like my favorite because really all that happens is a kite springs up on his back, and so he can like glide around. But I love it. Like the whole thing, it was really, really well done. I loved it.
So right now the previous Batman run was Tom King, and he brought back I don't know if he just took it on a bet, but he made one of the most lame villains. He made you actually give a damn, and it was Kite Man, and he had a 6-story arc where he was in it, and you felt for him. He made him human. He gave him this tragic story about his child. Like, he gave a damn about Kite Man. At the end of it, it was called the War of Riddles and Jokes. It was Joker on one side, Riddler on the other one. They were just destroying everything. Batman comes to try to stop it. But the guy who saves the day is Kite Man. And he made it work, and it was awesome. So, yeah, Kite Man's kind of the new hotness right now.
Yeah, I loved him in there. I definitely, like I said, I hadn't heard of the character, but as soon as after 2 episodes with him in it, I was like, I need to figure out where he's been, because I really wanted to see, like, more about him. And if he's like, I don't know. He's really, really likable. He doesn't seem at all like a villain, which a lot of them don't. But he is he's really funny. And at first, when he comes on, you think he's going to be annoying because he's kind of like ditzy, but I love him.
So Brian wants to see a Poison Ivy movie. Brian and Allory, who would you cast as Poison Ivy?
We stick in redhead.
You can do whatever. We put. I don't even start with the Spider-Man women. Mark Campbell, what's up, Chris? Happy holidays, you and the fam. You and your little one as well, Marky. I hope you guys are taking care. Poison Ivy, who would you cast?
That's a good question.
How about you, Brian? Who would you cast Poison Ivy? I don't know who I would cast. I mean, who's the obvious now? Who are the redheads that are always there? Dallas Bryce Harper comes to mind. Bryce Howard Harper.
Yeah.
Harper, baseball player. She comes to mind. There's a couple. Okay. Who was the other one? She was in Firefly for a minute. What is her name? You know what? I would like to see the girl that was in Midsommar.
Oh, Florence Pugh?
Yeah, I know I don't like the Black Widow thing. I mean, if she's going to be the new Black Widow, I'm down with it. But I've seen plenty of blonde play redheads.
Yeah, I would, and I'm not even sold. I don't think she necessarily needs to be a redhead. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, these characters need to look exactly as
Christina Hendricks.
Oh, Christina Hendricks. Yeah, I like her. She's real curvy. But yeah, I would be down for Florence Pugh. I really like her. She was awesome. That movie was trippy.
I love everything. Brian loved Midsommar. I love everything A24 puts out. Like, Hereditary shook me.
Hereditary was good. Yeah.
And man, did Florence Pugh go through the ringer on Midsommar? Just in the first 20 minutes, she went through the ringer. Holy hell!
It left me feeling things, honestly. Usually, horror movies are a nice escape because they don't typically shake me up or anything. But this one, I was like, okay. And then at the end, I was still there was no resolution. I was just still shook.
Oh, here's another one, another A24 movie. The girl that was in The Witch.
Oh, Anya Joy Taylor.
Her too, yeah.
I love her. I think she's so cute. Great. Yeah, I love her. And she had red hair in The Queen's Gambit, so.
That's right.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard really good things. Yeah,
I'm sure it's really good. I don't know if I can sit and watch chess. I mean, I don't know if it's about chess,
yeah,
right?
They say it makes it really interesting. Yeah, it is about chess. And honestly, I've really been a fan of her. She was in Split also, and I thought she did such a good job. She had dark hair in that. And she was in the New Mutants.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, I like her. Oh, you know what? I'm keeping it sidetracked because I love movies and cinema and comic book things. You know what totally threw me off? Brian says Queen's Gambit is a very good series. All right. I take his word for it. This dude puts me on so much stuff. Good buddy of mine from Japan. Totally blew my mind. Oscar Isaacs, right?
Yeah.
Love him. Super handsome dude, right?
Yeah, I loved Inside Llewyn Davis. That was like the first time I really saw him.
It puts a female lead in a male-dominated role. Good.
Love it.
Oscar Isaacs came out 2 weeks ago and said that he's going to portray Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid video game. I'm sure maybe haven't played it, but you're aware it exists, right?
Vaguely.
You can lie. Okay. So it's a very iconic video game character. Like, oh wow, that's big. And I totally forgot until today they talked about it's in production that he's going to be Mark Spector in Moon Knight.
Is he?
Yes, and I'm excited for that. Former CIA guy goes to Egypt and is taken over by an ancient moon god. Sign me up.
Nice. Yeah, we saw that on the list of the big Marvel announcements, and we're curious about
I do that, but then I just lay in bed as we watch movies and constantly scroll through IMDb.
Yeah.
I do that 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing all night long.
I love IMDb. I was on there for a good 20 minutes earlier today.
So you did your 2. I've got 4, and I'm going to speed through them so we can get to our picks. I got 2 I had to put on here because they're only a few issues in. I could also see Amy Adams. Ooh, I like her. I think maybe her DC roles have given me a bad taste, but she's a good actress.
She is.
She's an actor now.
I don't know. I want to see somebody like spicy. I don't know if she would be sassy enough. Like, I think she can be angry really well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she can, like, I want like
that pizzazz.
You know what I mean? Yeah, she's got like a spark to her.
Be in my face, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you through this real quick because, like I said, there's only a few issues of 2 of these series, but I know the writers that write them. And Spivey is the word, Brian. She's got to be Spivey. There are only a few issues in, but I got to talk about them because I think they have awesome potential. We talked in briefly. James Tynion's Department of Truth.
Which I signed up for a subscription for at your recommendation, but it'll ship eventually. I just did like a 1-month thing for my subscription, so it'll be here eventually. Good.
I think it's great. The Department of Truth. What if every crazy conspiracy theory that you see online or on Facebook and this and that, or you hear people talking about, what if it were all true? What if the world actually was flat? What if there was somebody else on that grassy knoll in 1963 in Dallas? This is a organization that is, their sole purpose is to disprove all these crazy conspiracy theories, even though they know they're true. The Earth's really flat. The latest issue was really good. It was a lot of these issues hit close to home, but the last issue was about a school shooting, mind you, and they knew it was true, but it was right in the heartland, and they tried to cover it up, and just to the umpteenth degree. And they do a lot of really, really cool stuff. That book is an Image book. It's James Tynion. James Tynion, we're talking Something's Killing the Children. We're talking about the current Batman run. We're talking about The Woods, a plethora of other books.
You know what my favorite conspiracy theory is?
Go for it.
Birds aren't real. They're all little robot spies from the government.
Sure you hit me up when that gets covered.
It's my favorite. I really hope it's included.
My favorite, I saw one today. It was like talking like all the new COVID-19 vaccine that's going to have microchips, and like, I'm here to confirm there will be no microchips in it, but it will have the new YouTube album.
Dude, I
It's
was
nothing on
still
our
like,
phone.
I don't use Apple Music, like
Mhm.
iTunes or Apple Music anymore. I use Spotify, but like you know how many times I tried to delete that album.
Tell me about it. This book is 2 issues in. 2 issues in. And I know the writer. I like everything he does. Donnie Cates from here in Savannah went to SCAD here, and he is the hottest of hot at Marvel right now. But he does image books as well. He did one that I couldn't recommend enough. It's called God Country. Uh, Bawled my eyes out reading that book. This book is, what if superheroes came to Earth and to stop the collateral damage, they put a dome over it. And all the superheroes and this huge, gigantic, the biggest crossover of all crossovers happens. And they trap all the superheroes. And then it is against the government is capturing them, testing, experiment on them. Comic books become illegal.
Wow.
And during all of this, I'll give you just a taste of this one. And he breaks every rule in the book.
Comic or here superhero wise.
Say again.
Who do we see superhero wise in there?
So that's the great thing. He tiptoes around every single one. DC.
Like the generic.
In the last issue, a news reporter came over that Brian K. Vaughan was killed in an attack. Like,
Okay.
he knows everybody. He knows how to just use them just enough. You see outlines of the superheroes in cells, and you know who they are. And the big kicker in this one that will get you going is someone escapes, right? They escape the dome. But the people who were actually comic book characters that aren't real, but now we know they're real and we have to control them, is a little girl. You see her face?
Yes.
So if you're a hero, she's got the little comic book dots on her, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes. So she's not real. She's a character in our world now, right?
That's really cool.
And to get away from doing all the stuff that he can and can't do legally, at the very end of the issue, she says, hey, yeah, Brian says birds are just the government sending signals to your brain to comply.
I'm buying in on it. Birds are not real.
She tells everybody, I was in the dome and I escaped and I have to get back because my parents are there. She's like, girl, how did you escape? She said, a man helped me escape. I said, what are you talking about? And there's the man she drew a picture of.
Lovely.
Awesome book. Super awesome book. That's my 2 of my 4. Quickly, image title, Bitterroot won an Eisner for Best New Series this year.
Ooh.
Bitterroot is, think of it as a whole family of the Winchesters. In 1924, in Harlem.
My fiance just went at that. So intrigued.
Exactly. And it's a family of all African Americans, right? In Harlem, 1924. Awesome color palettes. You see the book really just pops, right? I love the colors in it. Great. But they're fighting monsters, right? Mind you, Harlem, 1924. But these monsters are only powered by hate and prejudice.
I love that.
Exactly.
That's going on my list right now. I love that.
Bitterroot. Sanford Green, or I've got all their names. Sanford Green draws it. David Walker, Chuck Brown, Sanford Green. Sanford Green colored it as well. They're a very tight-knit family. I believe they're from Atlanta. I could be wrong, but won the Eisner this year for Best New Series. Awesome book. And the second trade just came out.
Okay.
This covers the first 4. Volume 2 covers the next 4 after that as well.
Okay.
The Django the Winchester version. I like that too. Brian's on it today, man. And last but not least, I've known of these books. I had to pick them up. The Sixth Gun. Okay, I got this huge, oversized version of them. I got the second one coming in the mail now. In this world, it hits all my favorite niches, my sci-fi and my western. This is the sixth gun, that there are six guns in this world, right? And to have all of them, if you were to collect all of these guns, you could have unlimited power, you could never die. And let me tell you, these guns, imagine a gun that strikes with the force of a cannon shell, one that spreads the flames of perdition, a gun that spreads a flesh-rotting disease, a gun that can call up the spirits of the dead and men and women that it shoots down, another gun that grants you immortality, and a sixth gun that shows you the future.
I love that.
Love these. Love this. I bought this, and
I've heard of it. That sounds interesting.
I'm only halfway through it because I know as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna be pissed off and want to read the next one.
Yeah.
I'll be here tomorrow. So yeah. I love.
You can binge.
I love these. I love the Oni Press does this one. I love their hard.
It's on Comixology because I just re-upped my subscription.
I do think they're on the Comixology. Some of the what's the
Unlimited.
Unlimited. There you go. I think the first volume's on there. The Infinity Revolver, right? Oh Lord. Okay. I'm out of the way. You're out of the way. Let's go and see. Let me hide this. Show me if this is going to work. It might not work. Hold on. Work. It's not working.
Oh.
Oh. Oh. No. All right, Allory, you're number 3. Your third favorite book of the year.
Okay. So I chose Kent State by Durf Backdurf.
Take it away. I got you.
Awesome. So it's Kent State with the subtitle For Dead in Ohio. Mine looks a little different because I got an advanced reader copy from NYCC. It is all in black and white. Durf Backdurf is from Ohio. His real name is John. He always got called Durf because of his last name, so he just embraced it. So he goes by Durf Backdurf, which is awesome and ridiculous. So he lived near Kent State. I think he was 9 at the time when the Kent State shootings happened. And it's just like a really well-researched, I'll show you in the back. Like, these are all of the notes on the research that he did. He did interviews that hadn't been conducted before. And it's just really, really good and respectful of the victim. So let me see which one. He graduated from OSU, and his other really big book was My Friend Dahmer. Did you read that? I don't know if you can still hear me. I don't know if it's just me. Oh, I can't. Okay. I think it's just me. Are you here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Okay.
I can't hear you. Oh, okay. This is my show now. I have to.
I was trying to give you the spotlight. 3, 2, 1. Boom.
I'm
there
back.
You go. And
Okay.
Take it away.
There we go. So he did My Friend Dahmer. Did you read that?
No, but I did see the movie.
Yeah, so it's pretty spot on. I actually have it right here behind me. So he also did My Friend Dahmer. This is the movie cover, but I don't typically like movie covers. But this one was also in black and white.
Okay.
Chris is dancing around. Were you dancing during my present? This is my show. There is no dancing. So he graduated from OSU, grew up with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Insane.
Yeah, one of the coolest and creepiest things ever. So I absolutely love it. So he has this really particular style. So he is also the illustrator. So he writes it, he illustrates it himself. He went to a school in, I can't remember, I think Indiana, for design at first, and then switched to OSU. Stop.
I've got all your slides. I don't know what order. I don't know what order you wanted them in. You just tell me where, when.
Yeah, that's fine. So these are some side-by-sides of the victims of the shooting and his drawings. I think he does a really good job, but you can see they're like caricature style. Like they're not super realistic. Like the heads, like the features are pretty exaggerated. And I think that's really cool. He does the same thing. Like that's just his art style.
Right.
Like My Friend Dahmer, it's really similar. So in the top left, we have Jeff Miller. So he was shot through the mouth from 265 feet away and killed instantly. In the upper right, we have Sandy Schuer, who was shot in the neck and died after just a few minutes from 390 feet.
Good Lord.
Then we have Bill Schroeder from 382 feet, was shot in the chest, and it took about an hour for him to die. He died during surgery. And then Allison Krauss was shot from 343 feet in the chest and was DOA. And then there were 9 other people who were injured. So I really didn't know, like I knew about the Kent State shootings, but even being from Ohio, like I didn't know specifics.
Right.
And this book just did such a good job, and it follows the 4 victims in the days leading up. So you can see like how much tension and unrest there were, or there was on campus. And then it also, so he has some really interesting, do you want to show the next graphic?
Yeah, make sure I got the whichever one you want me to show, because like I said,
it should just be like, it's not, it doesn't.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, that one. So he will do these longer pages where he's giving us all of this background. So instead of dialogue boxes like we typically see, there are some really cool images like this that let you get a lot of facts without the book being like 600 pages.
Right.
So he takes a lot of time to set the scene and really give you the background to it. It's super accurate. It's super tragic. And just like it, you know, it was really heavy to read, but it was awesome. He also did, there should be one more with a comic and a news picture side by side. Yeah. So this is sorry, this is Jeff's body. So this picture was actually taken, like won a bunch of like news awards. And that is his girlfriend over him. So you can see on the right that he like completely recreated that picture for this, that he was really focused on, you know, getting the facts out there. And so then they talk about how after the shootings, everything was a mess. Records were lost. Guns were switched around, like the records of who had what gun. All of the guns were reloaded, so no one could tell who had shot. And then there was no way to tell who fired the first shot. And then people just like, once someone fired the first shot, it was a free for all, because everyone was like no, the guards didn't know what side the shots were coming from, or at least, you know, felt that, or that's what they said in their statements. So there was never any like evidence to like to know who started it. So like I said, I just thought it was really interesting, really heavy. I'm starting us off on a pretty dark note, but it was so well done. And his these are, as far as I know, the only 2 graphic novels he has, and they're both based on his own experiences, which just happen to be 2 incredibly crazy things. So I don't know if he's going to go into the fiction world also. But he just did such a good job, and being from Ohio, you know, I feel like he's doing us proud.
Right. No, it's like you said, to live through both of those, or not in that, just to even one being so close to it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to put it in a light that, what are the chances of that though? Exactly.
I know.
But be able to do some good out of it, or just to not even do some good of it, but just to give you a firsthand like perspective of it.
Yeah, and like I said, he really, like, all of the focus is on the victims, and you learn a lot about them. And like I said, I knew that there was a shooting at Kent State, did not know any of the specifics of it, and it was just really informative and super relevant. I mean,
and you'll get more information out of that than you will a TV series or a book or
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
textbook. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. So number 3, we've got a bleak one, but a very good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Again, we just brought it up. I think that came out last year.
It came out in April 2020.
It was came out this year.
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to not believe. I think I saw that nominated for an Eisner as well.
I think it was. So I have, like I said, I have the arc, so it doesn't. I can't remember if I put that in my notes or not, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay. You got another picture here.
Okay, yeah, that was just another example of like I thought that one was particularly cool.
Well, it's good because it's not all text. It's still
Yeah.
on a comic format, but it's still, the way his panels are laid out too. Your information flows on there. It's not too congested. I mean, that's nice.
It's not overloaded, but it's still
Mhm.
a faster way to get you information. That's like living through the LA riots and having a run-in with the Zodiac killer. It really is. Yeah, it's almost hard to believe that.
I keep getting off topic. Watched another one on HBO the other night. Michelle McNamara, the late wife of Patton Oswalt.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've only watched the first episode, but I heard about it on My Favorite Murder because one of the women who does that podcast, because I love true crime podcasts, she was friends with Michelle McNamara.
I watched that one. Because I've been home. I've been on leave. I watched that, and I watched Murder on Middle Beach. Super good one.
I watched that.
On HBO Max too. Super good. 4 episodes. Watch that one.
Okay.
I think that one. I mean, Golden State Killer. Obviously, it's going to get more notoriety. I think the other one, Murder on Middle Beach, way better.
Okay.
I'm not going to compare crimes.
I feel like because I'm also on like true crime TikTok. Like I like so many videos, and it's like all of my videos are like true crime, book recommendations, and then just like animals. So I'm pretty sure the Middle Beach one I took a screenshot of because someone was recommending it on there too. So I have it in my camera roll.
Super good. Super good. All right. And did I miss any? Yeah. All right. So again, that's Kent State, Fort Dead in Ohio. That is Allory's third pick. Pick number 3 of her favorite books of 2020. As for me, it's going to be kind of easy to go a little bit lighter.
Sorry.
My third book, again, I'd be remiss if I didn't put a book of this character in here, but I had to put this book in here because Batman, The Curse of the White Knight. Batman has been around for 81 years. And from a guy who's read everything, it is going to explode like a firework when you read something that's different. When you read something that's new, when you read something that hadn't been done before, and this book does it. Curse of the White Knight. It is actually the second series in the line. The first was just Batman White Knight. And in the story, the Batman and Joker are, having it out, and he apprehends the Joker at this pharmaceutical plant, and he's just beating the tar out of him, and he's like, oh, and he grabs a bunch of these pills and jams them down his throat and beats the hell out of him, right? What does he do? He freaking cures the Joker.
Okay.
And what does the Joker do? He fixes all of Gotham's problems. He fixes
so is that
all
him
the
up
problems.
at the top?
Yes, but when he flips back, he can flip in between because again he's fighting it. He needs his medication to do so, right? But Joker becomes a diplomat of Gotham. Okay. He fixes all the problems in Gotham and brings to attention. Think about all the damage that Batman does to Gotham.
Right.
Driving the Batmobile, just destroying buildings, all this and that. And they're essentially at the end of it, there's a manhunt for Batman, right? Cool. Dug it. Awesome story. It was different. This one is the second one. And there's only 8 issues in, But what I really loved about this one is give you the spoiler for the last one. Um, the Joker can't handle it. He gets locked back up, right? He's locked back up in Arkham, can't take his pills. He's no longer Jack Napier, his persona, his normal guy, right? Couldn't go on about being the Joker. He unveils an ancient secret in Gotham that in the 1800s, when the Waynes came over, they were actually thieves and criminals, and they um, they killed another prominent family which it was Azrael. I don't know if you know of Azrael. He is this big knife sword wielding dude here, but he's actually a Wayne and Bruce never was. They killed these dudes, took up the Wayne persona, the mantle, and made Gotham what it was. He comes back to claim it, but this book does so many different things that I really like. And when it's its own like Batman universe, it's underneath the DC Black Label imprint, so they can tell their own stories in it. People die in this book, and it's not like most comic books. People stay dead. Let's see here. Jim Gordon, he's dead. He gets killed. Second issue.
Okay.
Jim Gordon knows that his daughter is Batgirl. There he is. Jim Gordon gets killed. Done.
I'll just say Jim Gordon is a hot mess in the Harley Quinn series.
I'm sure. Super cool book. Like I said, it's hard to do new stuff with this character that's 81 years old. It's taken a long time. Tell you at the very end, the cool thing, I don't want to go to this one yet. One more. The coolest thing is all this Batman stuff happens. They have this huge duke out. They're fighting. He destroys all of Batman's arsenal, and he has one Batmobile left. He says it's his favorite. It's the 1989 Michael Keaton Batmobile. I'm like, yes, that's awesome. And the cool thing at the end of this book was he realizes all that Jack Napier, i.e. the Joker. Oh, the Joker gets capped in this one too. Dead. Right when he impregnates Harley Quinn, and Harley Quinn has twins right now.
Okay.
And Harley Quinn has her own title in this imprint. Very good. And they need Harley Quinn to catch a serial killer right now, but that's a different thing. So he realizes at the end of it, he's got to find a way to stop this villain, this Azrael, who supposedly is the rightful heir to the Wayne mantle. He comes out, he clears the streets, he gets on like the big New York City, Gotham City Jumbotron, takes off his mask in front of him, say, "Hey, I'm Bruce Wayne. I've been Bruce Wayne forever, and I understand the crimes that I have committed and the lives I've broken trying to help you guys, but no crime is too big or small. If you guys get off the streets, let me finish off this villain tonight. I will lock myself up." Super awesome fight, knockout, drag out. I wish this thing would. Oh, it's just like really delayed on my end when it does this. Just thinking about it. Okay, there's a dude. So again, things that haven't been done before. Bruce wins the fight, locks himself up like he said. Really enjoyed it. You see the guy come talk to him at the very end of it. You see the badge on his army jacket, and his last name is Todd. So you see Jason Todd comes into the picture at the very end of it, assuming coming to the lead of the next book. But I really liked it. I love Sean Gordon Murphy's art because he does this thing where he's all pencils and inks, and to fill in a lot of his stuff, he likes to use his thumbprint. You can see it on a lot of stuff. You see his print, literally, his prints are all over these books.
Yeah.
And I love the bat suit in it. I love it being a Black Label book. And like I said, they're killing people left and right.
Yeah.
But it was a super cool book. And anytime you're going to give me my favorite character for the last 25 years and show me something new, I've got to put it on the spot. And I'd be remiss if the biggest Batman fanboy of all time didn't put one of the Batman books on here. So my number 3 was Sean Murphy's Batman Curse of the White Knight. And zoop, go work for me. Oh, the production of this show, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right, Allory, for your number 2. Boom.
Boom. Lock and Key. So I know it's pretty old, but I just read it this year. So
Perfect. No time better than now.
yeah. So Joe Hill, legend, obviously. I also read Nosferatu this year, and it was awesome. I have not watched the series yet, though.
I'll give you one more. It's a novel, Heart-Shaped Box. Joe Hill, Heart-Shaped Box.
I will check that out. Yeah, I was like, he's one that I definitely want to read more of his stuff because Nosferatu was incredible. It was so good, so well written. But yeah, so, huh?
I've seen one episode of the show.
How was it?
I liked it. I like the girl that's the lead. Jen has actually read all of Nosferatu. I have not.
Okay, yeah, I haven't watched the show yet because I just read it over the summer, so I like to put some distance between. We talked a little bit about that last week.
Right.
But yeah, so it's Joe Hill. I don't think he needs too much background. And Gabriel Rodriguez, the illustrator, is also an architect, which I just thought was really interesting. He's mostly worked on this, like this is his main thing, but he's also an architect. So has that artistic background. Have you read Lock and Key?
I have.
I figured.
My wife's favorite book.
Yeah.
And when I went to a convention, I went to MegaCon last year. I got her a graded 9.6 CGC of issue number 1.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's her favorite. It's her favorite comic.
Yeah, it's so good. I loved it. The art is so good. The story is so good, and it really keeps you interested because it'll go back and forth between 2 storylines basically in every issue. So it gives you past and present, and then so just it always keeps you on edge because you're getting very little bit of the story at a time, and then it'll go back to another timeline. So basically, if you haven't read it or watched it, I have not watched the TV show.
I refuse to. It's too good of a series. I don't want it to put a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Jen, the same way. We haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I have not watched it. We actually did this one for my book club because we wanted to switch it up. So we did the first volume of this, and then I read all of the rest of it on my own. I think a couple of the other girls did too. But basically, 3 kids. We have Bodhi, the littlest one, Tyler, and Kinsey. They move with their mom to Key House after their father is murdered by a former student because he was a guidance counselor. So that guy, Sam Lesser, becomes a pretty big deal in the first arc because he escapes from jail with the help of this vision that this ghostly figure that shows up in the toilet water of his jail cell. So basically, there's already a ton of intrigue with the dad being murdered right off the bat. You have this escaped serial killer because he also has killed a couple other people along the way, kills people to get back to this family. But then the house itself has this whole huge mystery surrounding it. So Bodhi, the little boy, finds a key, and he is able to open one of the doors that leads to the outside. So he walks through the door and seemingly drops dead on the ground. But really, he just goes into this ghost form, and it allows him to explore all around the house, and he starts spying on people like any 6-year-old would do. I think he's 6.
I think you're right.
And so he tries to explain to Kinsey and even shows her, and he's dead on the floor, and she's like, nah, she doesn't really believe him until they come across the head key. So this is the head key. All of the keys are so cool looking.
Have you been on, I think it's Coffin Press or something, there's a website, and they make all of the keys.
That's awesome. No, I haven't.
Boxes, and you can get any of the keys you want. You can buy them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are so many because a lot of them, the head key is a huge part, but there are some that are just kind of they're almost like implied because it shows like the consequences of the keys, but doesn't go through every single one. And there are like 30. So like there's one that will summon a giant owl. um, there's the gender key, which plays a huge role in the storyline that'll swap your gender. But so the head key will open up the top of your skull, which sounds graphic, but it's not. And it will, yeah. So here you have the 3 kids, and they're looking into Bodhi's skull. And in it are all of his memories. So you can see some typical kid stuff. We have some colored pencils and dinosaurs, him with his dad. Not too dark. Kenzie's a lot darker.
Right.
She's an angsty teenage girl, so you know she's been through some trauma. And I'm sorry, I have this like leftover off. It's so annoying. But and you can basically mess with your memories. So you can insert new memories that are like false memories. You can also take them out. So if you take out those little guys, if you don't want to remember that dinosaur, you can just pluck it out of there, which has a lot of interesting consequences. So there are basically like there's murder, there's all this fantasy level stuff with all of the different keys because they do some really cool things and they're so unique that like it really just drives the story. And it's like 36 or 37 issues. I have not read the what's it called, the Golden Age.
Oh, okay, there's a couple of them out now.
Yeah. I saw it at the store, but I wasn't sure what was going on with it, so I haven't read it. They're also doing a mashup of that and Sandman. Did you know?
Yeah, the Sandman universe, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read Sandman because there are a lot of them, but I'm interested in it.
Skeleton Crew Studios, they make all of the keys.
That's amazing. I'm gonna follow them on right now.
And of course, kind of a spoiler, but not a spoiler. Look at the great Bodhi bust there with the little the sparrow.
Oh my God, I love that.
Right?
I love Bodhi so much.
Very good.
Yeah. So that's the gist of it. I mean, it's hard. Like it would take us 10 hours to go through the entire series because there's so much to it. But that's the gist of it, yeah. That like there's this house that has all these weird things going on, and then also there's a serial killer on the loose.
Exactly.
And then other shenanigans happen. So.
6 volumes, and then there was like an alpha and omega that ended it.
There are 5, and then alpha and omega is the 5.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay, I already forgot the name of that thing because I was talking.
Skeleton Crew Studios.
Okay.
Skeleton Crew Studio.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a friend that obsessed with it. She has one of the keys tattooed, and she's bought some of them as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything you want to add about it?
Say again?
Anything you want to add about it?
No, it's a great book. Without question, I love Gabriel Rodriguez's art in it. If you didn't know Gabriel Rodriguez, he also did the Little Nemo series, like Little Nemo and Dreamland and all that. I love his art. I love the story. A little verklempt at the end of it. My wife was bawling her eyes out at the end of it. It was great because my wife and I just got married, and we're living in a house. We've got like limited furniture, just us. Little 1-year-old Aubrey, and we were doing this thing where we had 3 book series we were going through, and as soon as we would read, we had a Barnes and Noble down the street, and what we would do is after we'd won one trade, I'd hand it to her, she'd read it, then we'd grab the next, and we had 3 series that we did that with. We did all 10 volumes of Y and the Last Man. We did all of the Fables.
I've read the first trade of Fables. I really like it.
And then we did it solely on Comixology on the iPad, all like 50 issues of Lock and Key.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's going to definitely, again, my wife's favorite book. I really loved it as well. It's always going to be a tender place in my heart. But I love the family dynamic in it. It's like you hate to meet your heroes, but then you're like, I hate to see something I love put in another form. So we still haven't touched the series, but it's an awesome book. it touches a lot of cool things. Like we said, there's 30 plus keys. You're talking about the gender swap thing was definitely a big thing in the series. Um, and then at the heart of it all, there's still that family story into it, and there's still young children and young adults growing up during all of this,
and
figuring
recover
out.
from basically the most traumatic event you could ever
Oh,
recover
they get
from.
right into it. They
Yeah.
get right to the second page.
Yeah. It's like, oh, dad murdered.
Yeah. No, I like everything Joe Hill does, and Lock and Key is definitely his magnum opus. I think that's what, regardless if you want to put out the fact that he's Stephen King's son, but he
Right.
is the creator of Lock and Key, and it is awesome. If I'm interested to hear, I can't wait to hear number one, because that's an all timer right there with Lock and Key. Awesome. So that was Allory's number two. My number two is another DC Black Label book. This one is the topic of our monthly book club that we do, hosted by my good friend Lee Heidel, that owns Neighborhood Comics in Savannah. Strange Adventures. And I love this book. Does so many things that a lot of comic books are afraid to do. It does a lot of things that might turn a lot of people off of a book like this. So you've got D-list superhero. We can call him F-list. I don't know. Adam Strange, right? And what he does so cool in this is Tom King is the writer. Let me find him here. Tom King wrote this book, and there's Tom King on Late Night with Seth Meyers. Tom King, if you didn't know, Tom King is actually ex-CIA.
That's awesome.
He's ex-CIA. He wrote another book that was really good. I like the Hill House in comic form. Yes, again, the Hill House comics. Joe Hill's killing that. Like we talked earlier, if HBO Max doesn't do a Hill House imprint, like series of his Hill House books, Joe Hill, I think they were definitely missing an opportunity there. But so Tom King he did it with Mr. Miracle, not a really well-known or loved superhero, but they're calling it now in the comics, they're calling it the Tom King treatment. He takes these lesser-known heroes and spins stories up them that are absolutely phenomenal. And the book he wrote 2 years ago, Mr. Miracle, was hands down a book that like just changed me. Like, this guy is a hero. He's a soldier. He's a husband. He's a father, and he's trying to figure it all out. And in reality, if he doesn't know if it's real or not, and regardless if the reality is real or not, you still got to carry on and be there for everybody. But who's there for you? He's an escape artist, but what he can't escape is his own reality, as hard as he tries to. And it's an amazing book, changed my life. So as soon as this book dropped, I had to pick it up. So Adam Strange, backstory, he's here on Earth, but he also takes these Zeta beams that come out of the sky, and they teleport him to the planet of Ran. And there's a galactic civil war going on there between monsters and this and that. And he's a big time hero and all this and that. And he comes back and he writes a book. He saves the planet Ran, right? And apparently these creatures were going to take over Ran, and they were going to come to the Earth eventually, right? So he does that. He gets a Congressional Medal of Honor. He writes a book, right? And he's talking about his book, and he's like, he's a war hero, this, and this, until all of a sudden in the line at Barnes & Noble, this man comes up to him and says, "Hey, man, I know what you did to those people. I heard about the torture and those children in cages. You're not a war hero. You're a war criminal." And it gets blown up. And the awesome, interesting thing he does about this book is, like I said, it's on two different planes, right? We're on Earth, we're on the planet of Ran. And what's great is he's got Tom King has demanded such attention, and he's obviously deserved it. What he does that's different on this book is every time he's got two artists on this book. When he's in Ran, you get this Doc Shaner, super clean, nice cut lines, right? But when he's on Earth, it's this dark, shadowy, fuzzy, scratchy reality.
That's really cool.
And the great thing about it is you don't know what's true. So he goes to Batman, of all people, to say, "I need you to investigate me," because this man that's at the book signing 3 hours later is found dead.
Oh.
His head is blown off with a gun that's not of this world. So everything's pointing at him. And he goes to the Justice League and Batman, I need you guys to investigate me. And he's like, I'm too close to you. We're friends. I can't do that. I need to put somebody else on the case who can be honest and truthful. Oh, skip. He put Mr. Terrific on there. Another DF hero, but he's the smartest man in the world. And he has no bias about him. But you come to find out, he starts digging, and you don't know. What they're not saying is, now that they're back on Earth, the daughter they used to have is no longer there. So what happened to this daughter? What happened on this other planet? Is he a war hero? Is he a war criminal? And then they starts to get fuzzy again, is the stuff that we see on Ran, there's aliens on this planet. And when they talk, it's like jargon, like you're not supposed to be able, you read comics like translated at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's in a different language and you can't read it. Comic book sleuths on the internet, they break it down, all this and that. But you start to get this idea, are these lies? Are these just stories that he fabricated for his book, how this really happened? And knowing Tom King, we in our book club, we're thinking that there's some sort of like a Manchurian candidate kind of thing going on, that he was brainwashed and did all these terrible things. But what we didn't tell you is his wife was the princess of this planet. And you see totally two parallel different characters. You see her on Ran, like, oh, my hero, I love you, to real life Earth. And you see the shady doings the shady things that she's doing as well. And it's a book you have no idea what's going on. And it's so great, just the details of this. There's 2 covers of these books, and I get each cover every month it comes out. This is the Mitch Gerard's cover that does the real world stuff. And he's like, you see I Kill and Stranger Danger on there. And on every one of his covers, it says amazing science fiction, ? But every one of the clean Doc Shaner covers, you see amazing science fiction, !
That's really cool.
And it's getting so damn good. And there's so many people coming at him at different angles to find out the truth. What he did to these people, where the hell his daughter is. And it's super interesting. And like I said, I love these DC Black Label books because they can tell stories that they want to tell that don't fall in this continuity and won't, confuse people. But the ability Tom King has to take heroes you don't give a shit about and make them relevant, I think it's really, really awesome. And I love it.
Yeah, I think it sounds really interesting. And I think it's really impressive. I think ambiguity is a really hard thing to pull off without losing interest or being like too confusing for people, that you're like, if it's too ambiguous, people are not going to follow it. Like they're like, I'm too lost. I don't have the heart for this. It was basically me in season 3 of The Flash when they started time traveling. And I was like, please explain this to me.
Right. Well, like I said, it was so funny. We're talking about these aliens that you can't understand what they're talking about. But in other senses, in the earlier issues, these aliens were talking to him and you can read it perfectly. But in other instances, you can't. And then some instances, Adam Strange can understand them. Other stories or times, he doesn't understand what they're saying. So what's being fabricated in this book? What's real? What's not? What's reality? What isn't?
I think that might, just based, obviously I haven't read it, but based on what you're saying, it might be the kind of thing we talked about last week with Ice Cream Man, where when you go back and read it, you're going to see, like, as it goes on, you're going to start to see like so many things that are going to point to things that
I'm a part of a very, very fun book club for this book. And the fact that I said that, hey, the wife was a princess on this planet, now she's on Earth and she's pushing her own political agendas, and you see that she's not the sweetheart that she was on the other planet. On Earth, she's dark and gritty. And does she have ulterior motives of this sort? And it plays out so well. Like I said, him being ex-CIA, if the Manchurian candidate, because there comes a point at the last issue that has us all baffled, is he's being brainwashed. And he looks out at the planet that he's trying to save, and he sees all these aliens attacking him. And he's like, we need to stop them. They're killing them. He's like, yeah, we know. That's what you're for. And then the book ends. And we're like, oh. So it's they're at the halfway point. I think that's issue 6 of 12. So that's my number 2 pick of the year. Tom King, Doc Shaner, and Mitch Gerrard's Strange Adventures. And to bring it on home, we've got Allory with play work. No, work. There it is. Allory's number 1. I'm scrolling over to it because I got so much stuff on here. Boom. Fill me in, girl. I'm interested.
Okay, so I went with a novel because I read a lot of different things. Like I read the series, I like some standalones, I do the graphic novels and stuff. But like this by far left the biggest impression of me. Easily top 5 best books I've ever read in my life.
Ever.
And yes, ever. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. I picked it. We read it for my book club that I have with some friends. And I can't even, it's so good. So basically, in this world, it's kind of like a colonial vibe. Like, there's no technology or anything like that, but it doesn't seem like it's post-apocalyptic.
Okay. You're not given an answer.
Right. So it's just like there's no world building. It's just like this is the world that we're living in, which I really like. I don't love a ton of description, like building. Like I like to just be thrown into it.
This is what it is.
Yeah. So it's a young adult horror survival novel. It's a standalone. There are no... Huh?
So it's only one book, no universe building.
Right.
Her intention is only to write this one self-contained standalone story.
Yes, and there could easily be so many other stories about the like other years of the Grace year, which I'll explain in a second, and other characters and what happens after, but she has not announced anything. This came out in 2018 or 2019, I think. So it's pretty recent, but it seems like it's just this one. So the books are not divided into chapters. They do have these little dividers sometimes, but it's split into 4 main categories, which are seasons, because the entire book takes place over 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah. So basically, when girls turn 16, 2 things happen. 1, they are given a veil by a man who chooses them as their wife. If they are not given a veil, they're either banished to the outskirts or they have to work in the fields. And there is not a husband for every girl. So sometimes a man will, like in the first couple of sections, one of the older men, his wife suddenly dies, but really he accuses her of something and she is hanged because he wants a new wife. So he's an older man. So he gives a veil to one of the younger girls, the 16-year-old girls. The second thing...
What do you mean by gives her a veil?
So it's just symbolic, like they're given a veil that they can wear to show that they've been chosen. So there are other symbols. All of the girls have red ribbons when they are 16, and then they get a black ribbon when they return from their grace year to show that they are wives now. But the girls who are banished to the outskirts do not get ribbons. So it's just a marker. So the second thing that happens, it's on the same day. So there's the veiling ceremony, and then they are immediately banished to the woods for a year to expel the magic that they have over men. So really? Whether this magic exists or not, no one addresses. You're not allowed to talk about the grace year.
You're going to be married, but here's probation.
Yes.
Okay.
So they spend 1 year in the woods, and they actually, as they're leaving to go, the survivors from the previous grace year are coming in, so they pass each other in 2 lines. So they live in the woods, they're taken out, and no one is allowed to talk about the grace year. Like no one has any idea what happens. They've heard stories. Sometimes body parts are sent back. And there are also people who are said to eat the body parts to, like, you can buy them on the black market, and it's supposed to help you stay younger longer. Yeah. So, huh?
Like eating them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
the main girl.
Yeah, WTF, Brian.
Yeah. So the main girl.
If
Her
I'm
name is
wrong,
Tierney.
tell me. I'm getting almost Handmaid's Tale meets some kind of, maybe not even Hunger Games, but maybe if it escalates to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely is. So the main girl is Tierney. So she's 16. She has a lot of. She's 16. Tierney.
One more time.
Tierney.
Like a tyrant.
Tierney.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it actually has just been picked up as a movie. So it has been, like, someone bought the rights to it, and I think Elizabeth Banks is going to direct it. Yeah. So Tierney is super independent. She doesn't like to spend time with the other girls. She actually judges a lot of them. Like, she doesn't want to be anyone's wife. She has a lot of skills that the other girls don't, that her dad taught her. She likes to spend her time out in the woods. Her best friend's name is Michael. And everyone assumes that he is going to veil this truly awful girl named Kirsten because she's the prettiest one of their year. And he is, like, his dad is, like, the mayor, basically. He's, like, the head of the town.
Okay.
So on veiling day, Michael veils Tierney and admits that he's always been in love with her. Ooh. And she is completely and utterly destroyed by that. She does not want to be anyone's wife. She is devastated that he has put this fate on her, and that her dad let it happen, because no one knows who's going to veil, like, until, like, you are told you got to veil the day before, and then they'll, like, lift it up. They do this ceremony thing. So that is her fate. She has always wanted, she was just content to be working in the fields. That's what she thought she'd be assigned to, because she was strong and she knew how to do a lot of things. So then they are banished into the woods. And when they get there, the campsite, like, most of the stuff from the previous year has been destroyed. The girls are not there to help each other. Like the previous year, they're like, we're not leaving any helpful things for you. So they start building. There is some food there. There's a well. On the way to the camp, one girl fills her pockets with rocks and drowns herself in the river so that she doesn't have to face the Gracier.
Ooh.
So the point is for the girls basically to use up this magic. So Kirsten, who is the worst person in the entire world, immediately says that she is responsible for the girl drowning, and that her power is that she can make people do what she wants them to do. And so very quickly after they get to the camp, all the other girls start falling in line and claiming that they have all of these magic powers and they have to use them in order to expel it. Otherwise, when they come back, they're not going to be accepted, and they're going to know that they still have magic, and they're going to be banished. And so while that is all going on, they also have to deal with the fact that there are poachers outside of the camp that are trying to lure them out so that they can kill them and sell, like, and they get money as a reward for having killed these girls. So
you didn't answer Brian's question, because I'm curious as well.
Do you want to know? Because it makes you wonder for a while, and then it gives a clear answer.
I kind of do.
So there's not real magic. It is basically a way for society to try to break women when they go, like, they send them off and try to make them submissive. So, like, they really want to break them. And all of the powers, because the girls go absolutely nuts. And there is a well there that has mold in it. And it's definitely causing some hallucinations and instability. And Tierney is the only one who doesn't drink from it, because she makes this thing with rainwater. Yeah, it has some Salem witch trials vibes. But the girls all believe that they have this power because of the influence from the well water. Right. So they never reveal if the well was put there on purpose, or like poisoned on purpose, basically, or if it was just because it had been there for so long. Because we only get this 1 year. So poachers are trying to lure the girls out, or they wait for them to go nuts and stumble out into the woods to kill them. And they get money, like their families are basically set for life if they kill one of the girls. If the girl does not come back, or if her body is not recovered from the grace year, one of her sisters is banished instead. So
Even
they
if she's
take
not
the younger sisters. If she is never found, her one of the younger girls is banished as punishment. So the hope is that if they are killed, someone retrieves their body. So
dead.
yeah. And then Tyranny is rescued by a poacher, and things take a whole turn. And it is the best book that I have read in so long. It's incredible. It's lyrical and so well written. The story is incredible. It wraps up. It's tragic. It's amazing. I cannot recommend it enough. If I could get anyone to read one book, it would be this one every single time.
I'm glad you went in such detail because, like I said, my wife doesn't have Facebook, but this is getting streamed to YouTube right now, so I have to just fast forward all my bullshit and look for her. Oh man, that's great.
Please read it. It's so good. It's a masterpiece, honestly. It's so good. I picked it because we wanted to do like a YA dystopian type, and we were like, it's not. I mean, it could be dystopia. I mean, it's definitely everything is limited, so it has that aspect. And then, so I was looking for one shots because I was like, I don't want to do a series, and it's hard to find just like a standalone,
right?
In that genre. And then Libba Bray had the blurb on the front, and I absolutely, she's one of my favorite authors. She does like some really cool like magical things, and then she just has some weird books. Like there's one called Going Bovine, where we're in the mind of a kid who has mad cow disease, so everything's super trippy. There's one where beauty queens, like all these contestants of a beauty pageant, are stranded on a island after a plane crash. She's awesome. So as soon as I saw her name on the blurb, I was like, okay. And honestly, like top 5 favorite books ever. Might be my favorite book ever because it's so good.
Yeah,
that is
a great title. So now, when did you read this book?
Over the summer, I think.
So has she written anything since? Like, has this book driven you to read the rest of her work?
She only has 2 other books. So I think I sent you her author picture.
Oh, you did. Look at me just being a jackass over here in the show.
She has 4 other books. I have not read them yet. One of them, called The Last Harvest, was the winner of the Bram Stoker Award, though.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it's definitely horror element in that one.
Yeah. So and there's definitely, I mean, this book is not a light read. It's graphic. It's insane. Like there are things that'll make you cringe, but it's just also so beautifully written, and it's incredible, and she's a badass, and I love her, and I will definitely eventually read all of her other stuff. I know, look at her.
She's like if Stevie Nicks got into writing.
Yes.
I'm sure someone else. Probably someone better than Stevie Nicks, but who's better than Stevie Nicks?
No one.
The Exorcist is still my #1 book of all time. Oof. I was a weird kid, man. I was like 11, and The Exorcist was on my Christmas list. Like, they have a deluxe DVD that came out. My parents bought me for that one year, and we watched Exorcist on Christmas.
My mom, my grandma, and I still have horror movies. We do horror movies on Friday night.
You know, that was being a young jackass teenager. That was always one of the funnest things I did. Come over your house, we watch movies.
Yeah.
I still miss that.
I still like Black Christmas. I think of it every year. Like, and when it's your birthday, I was like, do I say this again for like the 100th year?
I told my wife about it. I don't think she got like how funny I still think that fucking is, but
it really is.
I already made it. I was like, I better have that joke in it.
I know. It was not at all the same. I liked it though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but no, I saw it today. I was like, I always think about that, and I think of that one joke in that movie.
Yeah, it made the movie so good.
Ugh, a dude eating them cookies and milk. Ugh. Dude's gross. The Grace here. Can you pronounce the last name for me?
I think it's Liggett.
Liggett, like a ligature, but Liggett.
Yes, I think so.
Liggett. Yeah, okay, I buy that. All right. Well, no, I mean, I'm
I
glad
hope
you
I
picked
sold
a
it to some
novel.
people because honestly, so good.
I'm glad you picked a novel. Look at this. This page is now becoming a multifaceted thing. It's not longer
I
comics.
know.
We got books now.
I will read whatever someone recommends to me,
I'm
honestly.
gonna put
Like,
that on the Facebook banner. We've got books now.
yes, now featuring books.
Oh, that's great. All
Yeah,
right,
I
the
tagged
Grace
us
here.
in my Bookstagram too because I have a whole Instagram account just dedicated to books.
I know. I saw that the
Yeah,
other day. I followed you, and I showed my wife, and she looked at it and loved it. And
yeah, she followed me today. Thanks, give
right,
me
and
followers,
you
man.
gotta
At Fatly
next
Read. That's my
next
cat.
next stream we do. We're gonna publish that or post up that Etsy store you got there too. You little
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you multifaceted
Yes,
woman.
someone else is sold. I'm
Say
telling
again.
you. Someone else said I'm sold. I assume on the book. I hope it's so
Yes, that
good.
is Jessica Belay, uh, a wonderful lady I work with, and she used to be my neighbor.
Cool.
Awesome. No,
My
that's
fiance just delivered this to me. This is a painting of my cat reading a book for it's the picture on my Instagram. So his name is Lou and he's fat and this is him reading a book. His sister made it because she's an incredible artist, but that's yeah.
is the
That's
cat's
cat
name
Lou
Lou?
reading. Yeah, the cat's name's Lou.
Okay, all right. You're like your family like called you Lou or something.
No.
I got an aunt we
Family
call
calls me
Ralph.
Cat actually, which is I don't there's a line
I
there
actually like
somewhere.
the name Lou for a cat.
Huh?
Yes, you pulled me in on that. Nice. No, again, I don't know if it was a weird nickname your family. Like I told you, I have an aunt that is Aunt Ralph, and her name is Becky. I don't know how Ralph stuck, but her name is Becky. So again, Allory's number one pick, the Grace Year, Kim Leggett. That sounds great. That sounds like an awesome book.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm interested. I'm definitely gonna pull up the YouTube stream later tonight and have Jen listen to your. I want to say crazy ramblings, but it sounds like an awesome book.
I mean, that's how passionate I am about it. And I'm also a big fan of crazy ramblings. So,
Well, speaking of crazy ramblings, my number one pick of the year is a crazy book I never intended to pick up. I hated the art until I learned to absolutely love it and cherish it and want to buy this guy's original art. My number one pick is a book called Murder Falcon.
ooh,
Yes,
you had me
Murder
at murder.
Falcon. Exactly. This book broke me to my core. Had me just ugly crying at the end of it. When I sat, I was laying in bed and I was telling my wife was standing on the side of the bed and I told her the gist of the book, beginning, middle, end, crazy heartbreaking ending, and I was crying telling her that, and I looked up at her and she's just fucking just singing in the rain over there, and but this book just floored me, and I mean this guy that did this book, Daniel Warren Johnson. Daniel Warren Johnson writes and draws all of this, and it's so much better when you find your writers or your artists on social media, and then you delve into it and you find out how great people they are. Like, this is the nicest dude in the world
Yeah, I love
I've
that.
ever seen. Like, he's like Paul Rudd would look up to this guy. Like, this is the nicest dude in the world. But this is a book that is batshit crazy. And so you see the young man there with the long, luscious locks there. His name is Jake.
Fabio.
Exactly. His name is Jake. And all of a sudden, these crazy monsters from this interdimension start ripping the seam of reality and coming to our Earth. And they're huge, crazy, like kaiju, Godzilla-like monsters, right? And our weapons have no use against them, this and that. The only thing, come on, work you. Is it flipping? Is it not? Try one more.
It's loading.
Oh, I know. I think I have pictures of
Buffering.
there. Um, yeah, so you see the huge rip in this big baddie in this book is called Magnum Chaos, right? The dude's all about theatrics. Right?
Badass name.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's all about the theatrics, but our weapons do nothing against him, this and that. But Jake can summon Murph, the Murder Falcon, to fight these gigantic kaiju-like monsters, right? The only way that he can summon him is by playing metal. Crazy, right?
I love that so much.
And why I'm telling you, when I come home next week, I will bring this book to you. And
Yeah.
this book, I just told you, it's a kid that plays rock and roll that summons a gigantic falcon that fights kaiju. This book just hit so many things I didn't know. Like, you know, when you just need that good cry, like I this book just floored me. So what I'm not telling you is, the book starts out and you see Jake sitting on a park bench, and a guy pulls up in a van, and it's one of his old bandmates, and you realize that Jake's back in town for the first time in a long time, and you get a flashback. There's a big argument between him and his bandmates. He smashes a guitar and an amp, and the band breaks up. And then they talk how, I haven't seen you in a long time. Chaos ensues. This big Murph, the big Falcon, comes. He's like, dude, he's like, you need to get over this shit. Here's your axe. You need to start wailing on it, because that's the only way I can fight these kaiju, right? And
so does he have to play like the whole time he's fighting?
Oh, he's just got to
shred. Just to get him there?
No, he's got to shred it while he's fighting. He, like, big guitar riffs or like his power up or whatever, like, makes no sense. But it does. It makes all the sense. And he gets his old bandmates into it, and they go to this crazy temple where all these ancient instruments are, and his buddy who picks him up that happened to be the drummer of the band. They go to this crazy temple and find his instrument. They find his set of drums, and he plays it, and a huge mastodon comes out, and he's just wailing on it, all like insane, right? You find the other members of the band, and then you find that not only did he leave his bandmates behind, he left his girlfriend behind. And he leaves his girlfriend behind because it's alluded to that she has cancer and he couldn't take it. He didn't know how to deal with all of that. The band breaking up, he was down on his luck. Him and his girlfriend were trying to get through this. And they just couldn't make it work. So he's reuniting with the band. He's trying to patch up a broken relationship with his girlfriend, all while saving the world by playing metal.
Big deal.
Exactly. By playing metal. And when I say that, like, this book, the art in this book is just so childlike, but it works so well. Like, his art is just absolute, like, no one can recreate his art. It's so hard to say that. He just did a story with DC Black Label again called Wonder Woman Dead Earth. And it just came out of hardcover. It's in the closet because it's a Christmas gift. Jen says I can't have it yet.
You're such a Christmas ruiner.
I'm telling you, right? I'm buying out most of it. Come on now. I know what's in there.
I don't want to know anything I got for Christmas.
I was good. I made sure everything on my Christmas list was local. So
well, Tim did get me, I found a Christmas present he got me, which was this Michael Scott vinyl pop. Because I have 17, I think, just The Office vinyl pops. Oh, wow. But he left it in my own car. Thought I wouldn't find it. I found it because I was looking for something in my car, and then I made him let me keep it early. So anyway, sorry.
Skip that one. So like I said, he's got a shred, big Murph with this Falcon and this metal arm. He's tearing up stuff. He's rekindling his relationship with his bandmates. He's rekindling this relationship with his girlfriend. And it's not just his world. It's the entire world. You hear some Norwegian death metal dudes, right? And spoiler alert, his band, this main dude here down at the bottom, his bandmates get completely wiped out, and he comes to help the cause and comes and joins Jake and all of them. Tragedy, tragedy, tragedy. Like, this book is crazy. But I want you to read this book, but if I don't convey what happens in this book to you, you'll not understand where I'm coming from. So the Japanese come on a naval ship. The Japanese like Philharmonic, and they realize they get
I
like these
love that.
gigantic choppers and put speakers and amps in it to fight. Like, the whole world's coming together, and Jake gets. You think he gets mortally wounded, but he survives, right? Like I said, I'm going to spoil the shit out of this book because I love this book. But and you come to find out, and Jake's the leading force of this whole operation, and you come to find out, Jake's in the hospital because he gets mortally wounded. He comes back, like, Murph wheels him out of the hospital, right? He's coming to the battle, right? You see Murph
Yeah.
wheeling out his chair from the hospital, but you come to find out that what we were told wasn't true. Why there's so many rifts in their relationship. You find out during all of this, he left because he didn't understand how to handle his own situation. And it was actually Jake the entire time who had cancer.
Come on, man.
It tore me up. It tore me apart. And if you would get this book a lot if you were like a big metalhead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they go to a tomb to find these crazy instruments, and there's Dimebag Daryl from Pantera, right? That's where the tomb is, and you find all this and that. But long story short, they're getting this gigantic battle at the end of it, and the part that just ripped my insides out and threw them on the table is they get to this big, the big MacGuffin at the end of it. They got to go find this one thing, right? They go to this temple that the source of all this music is, and you see that these two gentlemen are working on a universal tone, like a key, like a song, right?
Huh?
To end it all, right? And then you get this, and you hear they get transported to a different dimension. You see these people here by the campfire singing "Hey Jude," right? Hey Jude, and you see all these people. You see all these people. You see the mother and the child here singing to her child. You see the two friends singing here. You see the friends down here doing "Welcome to the Jungle," starting their own band, and this and that. And you're wondering why you're looking at all these people and why Jake is so important. And they think this horn is going to save it, because they think this horn that's going to play this music, it's going to call the dead back to life, and they'll have an army to sing against it. But it's not. All these people, it's not. And I'll say this line because this panel is beautiful, and you see all these people singing, and you see Jake right there in the middle, realizing what it really is. All these people you see, and he says, the horn doesn't call the dead back to life. It calls all of those who are destined to die, and they're still choosing to sing into the void anyway. And that hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. Oh, it did. So they destroy the big baddie, right? And once again, is Jake mortally wounded? No, he's succumbing to his cancer. And you see all of his family and his loved ones around him. And he gets up, and you see him get out of, his soul leaves, and he tells his best friends that he loves them. I'm trying not to cry now. He tells his best friends that he loves them, and tells his girlfriend how much he meant to him and how much Murph meant to him. And you find out that both him and Murph died, the murder falcon. He's like, don't worry, bud, I'm coming with you. And
Not
then
the murder falcon.
yes. And then the shrouded dude comes through. And it's none other, if you know metal, again, if you know metal, it does so much more. Who is it? It's none other than Ronnie James Dio. Ronnie James Dio is here to usher him into the next realm. And the line that gets you at the end. And he looks at Ronnie James Dio and says, "I'm ready now." And then they're walking through the door, walking on over to the next plane of existence. And he said, "Wait." He says, "Is there going to be heavy metal where we're going?" And Ronnie James Dio puts his hand on his hand on his shoulder, and he says, "Oh, son," he's like you wouldn't believe. And it just fucking crushed me. It just hit me so damn hard. And this was hands down my favorite book of the year. It's in my top 10. I think of 2020. This is the book I will remember. This guy made me pick up every book he's written now. I love him. He's an awesome dude. But Murder Falcon was my book of 2020. Floored me.
You really brought us down. I mean, I started us off down, but you brought us right back down.
Well, I wanted to bring this up to you. So my go-to source is Comic Book Resources. I love that website, and they picked the series that need to be made into a movie or series, right? Our beloved saga was number 5.
That's pretty high up there.
Number 1.
You just want to throw that out there. Like, this is how good it is.
Heavy metal, kung fu, and more. A lot of heart is what it has, damn it. But yeah. Murder Falcon. Oh, man. Like I said, absolutely floored me. A book I didn't know I needed to read.
Yeah.
A book that my buddy at the comic book shop, Lee, told me to pick up, and I am forever grateful for it.
That's awesome.
Forever grateful.
Nothing better than a good recommendation.
Oh, I'm telling you. Floored me. And a remove. Okay. Well, we started late. We're ending late.
Yeah.
I hope it didn't take too much of your time.
I have a snow day tomorrow, so.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. First snow day this year, so.
So what's Wednesday? Wednesday's the day before Christmas Eve?
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
I don't know. Let me see if maybe if you're off Thursday, I know I'm from the same place you are. They'll be off Friday.
Like this Friday?
Like if you're off Thursday, they're not going to bring you back on Friday.
Well, they might. I don't know.
Ooh. Right before Christmas too?
Yeah, well, so Friday's our last day before.
Yeah, that's what I figured, yeah. I will hit you up on the Celly and see if you've got ideas, if you're free. That's my British term, right? The Celly. See if you've got time, if you want to do something, or if you want to maybe just pre-record something and drop it next Wednesday. I'm down with that either. We'll figure it out. I'll hit you up because, like I said, we're going to come up that way. I'll find you a stack of books, and I've got your books bagged up. I'm going to just go ahead and bring them to you now.
Perfect.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Well, as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Allory.
And these were our top books of 2020. For the few of you here chatting with us, we appreciate it. It's better to talk, me and her talking at each other than talking to an audience. That's awesome. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Allory, you enjoy your snow day, and I will talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys.